on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Hey Coach is brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero, real Coke taste, 0 calories. Here is your host, Tom Roberts.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and roll tide. There you go. Number 4 in the country after a huge win over Texas A&M, and now we're on the way to Rocky Top. That's Alabama football tonight after a 59-0 rout of the Aggies, and now we're headed to Knoxville to smash the Big Orange. Coach Nick Saban is going to join us in about 30 minutes. If you're sitting at home, want to ask him a question, call us at 877-202-BAMA. If you're here at Bob's Victory Grill, Jessica Weiger will be standing right at the corner of the bar with a microphone, and we got some nice prizes if you want to ask the coach a question. And by the way, if you're here, you really need to go and register to win a pair of Bob Baumhauer's personal tickets to the Tennessee game. And by the way, you got to be present to win. We'll be drawing the winners out at about 6:45 and again at 7:30. Bama volleyball last night went to Auburn and swept the Tigers 3-0. Wait a minute. Y'all got to cheer for that. That's beating Auburn. And Ed Allen's here. We'll talk to him in a few minutes about his team and a home match coming up Sunday against Arkansas. Bama soccer continues winning on the road. It's now 4 straight in the SEC. Todd Bramble keeps getting great play from his goalkeeper, Emily Rusk. She's the SEC Defensive Player of the Week for the second time this season. We're going to talk to Todd on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline. And you can win a Camry at Bama's women's basketball games. Christy Curry has her women's team hard at work for the season ahead. And if you go see the Tide play at Foster Auditorium, you have a chance to win a Toyota Camry. And Christy and David DeSantis will join us next to talk about that. As we said, we hope you'll give us a call at 877-202-BAMA. And if you're here at Bob's Victory Grill, you can join Jessica at the end of the bar and ask a question. We're going to start by talking about women's basketball and a chance to win a Toyota Camry. That's coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Once in a while, a player comes along and completely changes the game.
Unbelievable catch!
It's no different when it comes to a car. A car that doesn't just change the game, but dominates it. The unrivaled 2015 Toyota Camry. Now get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2015 Toyota Camry. Toyota, let's go places. Offer valid October 1st through November 3rd, 2014. $0 approved credit. Monthly payment for every $1,000 finance is $27.78. Excludes tax tag, registration title, and legal fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
You're listening to Guy Talk live from the Sport Clips Haircuts locker room. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, boxers or briefs?
Speaking briefly, boxers. Unless you're a boxer, then I go briefs. Next caller.
I want to find my nearest Sport Clips, but I don't want to ask for directions.
Use SportClips.com. It's actually Guy approved. At Sport Clips, you'll get an awesome MVP haircut experience while watching sports on TV. Your head'll glow like a freshly mowed Major League outfield. This has been Guy Talk, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy.
Tide fans, make University Mall part of your football weekend game plan. Avoid the campus traffic. Take the Tuscaloosa Charter Tide Ride from University Mall to Bryant-Denny and back for just $10. While you're here, enjoy great shopping, dining, the area's best selection of Bama fan gear, and special Crimson weekend savings. We're West Alabama's in-place to shop for over 30 years. That's University Mall. Roll Tide.
Bud Light and NFL fans, this is the legend of Gail Hammerschmidt, who once tailgated 34 straight games, even grilling out in torrential downpours, and who could run a 4.440 to the mini fridge for an ice-cold Bud Light. But there are many legends like Gail, and Bud Light's rewarding them with experiences like an ultimate NFL weekend. Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens.
Ultimate NFL experience open to U.S. residents 21 plus. No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31/14. See upforwhatever.com for details. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. Joining me on the stage, head coach of the Alabama women's basketball team, Christy Curry, and the guy who's all everything at Tuscaloosa Toyota, David DeSantis. Glad to have you all with us.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Excited to be here.
Christy, first of all, I talked to you about it during the commercial break. Hoops on the quad last Saturday had to be an absolute blast for you guys.
Incredible for both programs. Great exposure, great awareness, great day in recruiting. A lot of positives.
A great day in recruiting. I like that. Because the season is coming. What, you're now 2 weeks away from the opener?
We are 2 weeks from Sunday. We're excited.
Oh, well, it means it's also time to win a Toyota Camry. There are a lot of reasons to go to Foster Auditorium. One, it's a great venue. And second of all, you're going to see great basketball. But the chance to win a Camry? What's going on here, David?
Can you believe it? Somebody will win, Tom,
yeah.
By the way. We will give the car away February 26th, so we're going to run the promotion all season long. The car will not be the only thing we have going on. We're going to have a lot of things going on. Each game, though, we'll pick 4 qualifiers, each home game. And at the end of the season, we'll bring all those qualifiers down to 4 people. And is the game the Florida game, last game of the season, I think 26. So we will pick a winner.
Well, and the good thing is you need to come to Foster Auditorium to register because they're going to see some great basketball, aren't they?
No question, and it's a Crimson Camry. Let's make sure we make sure of that. And, we're just
nice.
excited to partnership with David. I mean, his team, they're excellent. They're about excellence, and we're excited to have a championship program like they have a championship program out there at Tuscaloosa Toyota.
Well, they certainly do, and they've been great supporters of the University of Alabama. You can register at Foster, but you can also go by the dealership and register, right?
Yeah, here's the great thing. You can do it a lot of different ways, though. And you can come out to the dealership and register every day if you want to. But the main goal is we're going to do a lot of fun things. We want to get a lot of fans in Foster's this year, create that atmosphere that Coach Curry and her team want and need. And that the car's just not going to be the centerpiece, but it's going to be fun.
Best home court advantage in the country. We're excited to partner with them in creating that, and a lot of fun exposure there.
What are some of the other things you were talking about?
Tell them about it.
Hey, we've got a whiteout against Duke. We're hosting Duke and Foster, and we're excited to give away a bunch of T-shirts and just a lot of fun promotions throughout the year. So we're looking forward to it.
And Tom, you kind of know how we do it. We get rolling and things get big, and then we start giving away TVs and whatever. And
really,
I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a lot of stuff. We got a couple bags full of stuff. Show them. We got a couple bags full of these over here tonight. We just happen to. We tailgate harder than you play shirts, and
and we do.
You just never know what we're going to show up with. That's the deal. It's going to be fun.
Well, Christy and David, I appreciate you joining us tonight. And it's going to start, Sunday, November 14th?
Actually, November 9th. We have an exhibition, and then we have a doubleheader with the men in Coleman.
Right.
On the 14th, we play at 5:30, the men right after. It's a special night for Alabama basketball. And again, thank you. We're so excited to partner with David and his Tuscaloosa Toyota team. And it's the team behind our team, and we're just proud to partner with them.
Well, a Crimson Camry, February 26th. It's my birthday. Can I enter?
I can't even believe that we picked the same day.
It's
Crimson
a wonderful
Camry
day.
Giveaway.
Yes.
Remember that. You'll see a lot of that.
From Alabama women's basketball and Tuscaloosa Toyota. Thanks to you guys.
Thanks, Roll Tide.
All right, now I've got on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline maybe the hottest road coach on campus. That's Todd Bramble of the Alabama soccer team. Todd, congratulations. You got another big win on the road at Mizzou last Sunday.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Good to talk to you again. We're certainly happy coming home on the plane that night with a big win. That's going to have a lot of implications in a positive manner for us in the league and hopefully for NCAA consideration in a couple of weeks.
I know I heard you talking to Molly Atherton earlier this week. You'd love to get 6 points in a weekend, but you got 4 last weekend. You'll take that anytime, won't you?
Yeah, even the tie on Friday night against Arkansas was a bad result. That point's going to be valuable at the end. They had a really high RPI as well. Every little bit of that helps us right now.
Well, and for the second time this season, because she did the same thing one time before, your goalkeeper, Emily Rust, named the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. That's a high honor for her, but it really should be shared with all of her teammates, shouldn't it?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We're defending really well as a team right now. It's not anything that we're putting special emphasis on. It's just something that the players are really buying into right now, our total team concept. And there was a couple of occasions, though, one on Friday night against Arkansas and probably 2 times up in Columbia, Missouri, where Emily had to really step up and make a big-time save for us, but she was up for the task, and she's having a great season.
Well, she is having a great season. Your guys, as a team, having a very, very good season. And Bama fans with a chance to watch you in action, tomorrow night against the Georgia Bulldogs?
That's correct. We kick off at 7 o'clock. It's our last home game of the year, and it's going to be Merrill Van Donegan, her senior night. So she's been, a wonderful player for us, coming over from the Netherlands. I know that she's a fan favorite, so we're hoping that everyone will come out and see her off on the right note, and we can get a win in our last home game.
That sounds great, Ed. And or Todd, and I'm saying Ed because Ed Allen just joined me here on stage. He can give you some tips for your Sunday match because you're going to be at Auburn. And last night, volleyball won at Auburn. So let's keep that rolling this weekend, all right?
I saw that. That was a great game for his team, and we'll try to get the job done down there as well. You guys have a great weekend. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, too. Todd Bramble, head coach of the Alabama soccer team. We're going to talk to Ed Allen, the volleyball coach, coming up in just a moment. A reminder, though, that you should download the official Alabama Game Day app and get every digital football game day program free of charge. It's easy. All you do is search for Alabama Game Day from your app store and update for each game. Download now the official Alabama Game Day app presented by Adobe DPS, your best way to mobilize the Tide. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plotto and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey, the dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. The Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. For the best feeling of a coach on campus right now, call Ed Allen. Congratulations, Coach. You won at Auburn last night.
Yeah, it was terrific. Terrific victory there, Tom.
It had to be. You beat them 25-12, 25-12, 25-19. Your ladies must have just played maybe one of the best they played all year.
They did. I think, coming off of, Crystal Rivers recovering from some illness that she's had, and the team, I think, starting to gel again. It was probably as solid as we've played in the last 2 weeks.
Well, to me, you obviously don't want a great talent like Crystal to be ill and not be at full speed. But some of your other ladies have stepped up, and for instance, I guess Brittany Thomas had a double-double last night.
She did. She had probably her best match in the last 3 weeks, and a kid that when she plays really well, because of how much we ask her to do, the team generally performs extremely well when she's playing well.
Well, and the other one that I've looked at over the course of the last 3 weeks is your incredible freshman, Kat Hudson. She's just, she's not a freshman anymore, is she?
Well, no, we want her to play more like an upperclassman, especially as much as we're asking of her. The kids, I think almost 4 kills a set, about 3.5 kills a set.
Wow.
And hitting for high percentages in just about every match.
To me, that's amazing to see a freshman come in and perform at that level. She obviously has some good teammates out there. Was last night, it seems like that everybody must have played pretty well.
Yeah, honestly, it was probably the most balanced attack offensively we've had all year. And then just a solid job defensively, as you could see by the hitting percentage we held them to in the match.
Yeah, it was just I guess there's no such thing as a perfect match, but it must have been a very, very good one. And it was on a Wednesday night, so do your players get a day or two off here?
They got today off. And
wonderful.
Then, we'll get at it tomorrow as we have Arkansas rolling in on Sunday.
Well, the Razorbacks come in. They're 11-9, 5-2. Are you basically competing with them for a possible NCAA bid?
Well, right now I think we're third or fourth in the league in terms of RPI at 39, and really in a great position as the season has unfolded. And so, I think they're going to be one of those teams that are on the edge of getting a chance, especially given the schedule, because they've got a great conference schedule to play as well.
So they're going to come in hungry on Sunday. Your ladies better be ready.
No question. I think there's a great rivalry between the two programs, and they've got a couple local kids as well, which
really?
I'm sure will come back wanting to give their best.
Well, it's going to be live on the SEC Network at 1 o'clock on Sunday, but I hope there'll be a big crowd at Foster Auditorium. Again, congratulations on the win last night at Auburn. That's terrific.
I appreciate that, Tom. Thanks.
Let's hope it's an omen for beating the Tigers many, many times over the course of the next several months.
That's certainly the plan, I think, for everybody, right?
Good deal, yes. 1 o'clock Sunday, Foster Auditorium, Alabama against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ed Allen, thanks for being here. I know you're sleepy. What time did you guys get home last night?
I think I got in about 2:30 or 3. So, yeah, it's been a long day.
So it was not last night. It was early this morning.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
You bet. Thanks, Tom.
Go get some rest. Best Western wants us to remind you that it pays to be a Crimson Tide fan with Best Western of Alabama. Whether you're traveling for work or play, get up to 20% off rates and a chance to win a $100 travel card this fall. Visit bestwesternalabama.com/roll tide. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
On game day, whether it's on the field or at the tailgate, the best rise to the top. Because when the Crimson Tide are driving to victory, there's no compromise. That's why Ford delivers available EcoBoost engine technology that offers a winning combination of power and efficiency. Just another reason why Ford is America's best-selling brand. Check out F-150, Fusion, Escape, and the all-new Expedition at your local Ford dealer. America's best-selling brand based on 2013 calendar year sales.
Before you get in, get going, get gone, you need to get a tire that gets you. We suggest a Cooper tire. After all, Cooper engineers its tires not just for performance, but real-life performance. Because life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Buy 4 qualifying Cooper tires and get up to a $70 prepaid card by mail. Visit a participating Cooper tire retailer or CooperTireRebates.com for reward forms and official terms and conditions.
For every 4 skilled tradesmen who retire from the construction industry, only 1 person is entering an apprenticeship program to take their place. So if you're interested in making a good living by working with your hands, a career in construction and a nice salary are squarely within your reach. Go Build Alabama is committed to educating young minds about the opportunities that come from mastering a skilled trade. To learn more, register at GoBuildAlabama.com today. Go Build Alabama and Roll Tide.
There's no more important office in Alabama than Governor of Alabama. The person who serves as governor must be a leader of the utmost integrity, guided by core principles and values. This year, that man is not Parker Griffith.
We're not Democratic Americans. We're American Democrats or American Republicans.
Parker Griffith first ran for Congress as a Democrat, supporting President Obama's liberal agenda of higher taxes and more government spending. Then, to keep his congressional seat, Griffith ran as a Republican.
For me to be true to my core beliefs, I must align myself with the Republican Party.
And he lost anyway. Now Parker Griffith has switched parties again to run for governor.
American Democrats, we're American Republicans, Democratic Americans.
If Parker Griffith doesn't know who he is or what he stands for, how can we trust him to lead Alabama? Paid for by Bentley for Governor, P.O. Box 5047, Montgomery, Alabama, 36103.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. It's time to take a look at our Cooper Tire Performance of the Week, presented by Cooper Tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Visit CooperTire.com to find your local Cooper Tires dealer. Our performances of the week as selected by the coaching staff at the university. T.J. Yeldon, his 14th 100-yard rushing game. He's now tied for 6th place all-time with Eddie Lacy with 30 career touchdowns. Then there was Ari Kwanjo. No penalties, no sacks, no pressures, no missed assignments. That was good enough to make him SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. On defense, the coaches selected Reggie Ragland, who had 5 tackles, 1.5 for a loss, a sack, and an interception. And Ryan Anderson, who had 6 tackles, 1 of them for a loss. And on special teams, how about Reuben Foster, the 2 biggest hits of the day, had 3 tackles on kickoff returns, 2 of them inside the 20, and then Dylan Lee, 4 special teams tackles on punt and kickoff returns. So congratulations to those players for their Cooper Tire performances of the week. Now, Crimson Tide Tailgate Tradition brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. One of those traditions, great play in the NFL, and former Bama defensive stalwarts Marcel Darius, Dante Hightower, and Jarrett Johnson combined for 4 sacks. Trent Richardson and Eddie Lacy posted solid performances on the ground in the 7th week of the NFL season. Darius finished the week with 4 total tackles, a 4th quarter sack by the defensive tackle as well. Hightower racked up 13 total tackles, a new career high, to help the Patriots hold on to a victory over the Jets. Jarrett Johnson accounted for the final sack as he brought Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Alex Smith in the 2nd quarter for a 4-year loss. By the way, Jarrett, a 12-year veteran of the NFL, finished the game with 4 total tackles. Trent Richardson over the century mark in total yards for the weekend, 77 on the ground, 41 through the air. And Eddie Lacy, 63 yards on 12 carries, got his 4th touchdown of the season as well. So those are your Crimson Tide Tailgate Tradition, brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. Visit tailgateatyourplace.com for great game day ideas and enter for a chance to win $150,000 in prizes from Red Baron. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Hey, Alabama fans, make every day feel like game day with the University of Alabama Visa Check Card from Regions. Regions helps you move life forward with checking account features like online banking with bill pay, mobile banking with Regions Mobile Deposit, and cashback rewards. Regions is a proud sponsor of your Alabama Crimson Tide and is the official bank of the SEC. Visit Regions.com/GoBama for more information or go to any Regions bank to order your University of Alabama Check Card today. Regions, member FDIC. Terms, conditions, and fees may apply.
Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama is the authorized dealer for Toyota forklifts, the world's #1 forklift manufacturer right here in the USA. Toyota Materials Handling has short and long-term rentals available ranging from 3 to 36,000 pounds, and they provide parts and service for any model forklift. Ask Toyota Materials Handling about their no hidden fees guarantee and service loaner program. Call Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama today and speak with their consultants. Call toll-free 866-957-2250 or go online to toyotamaterials.com. AL.com.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
Hey, bartender, 2 Coors Lights.
You got it. I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Cold hard fact. When it comes to Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, remember, 21 means 21. Coors Light reminds you, with great beer comes great responsibility.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, the Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. And joining us on stage, our media guest. We shouldn't call him a guest because he's a member of the family, but we'll call him that. Our media guest for the evening, our Cook's Pest Control sideline reporter, the host of the pre- and post-game show, the Nick Saban TV show. He does baseball. He does basketball. He is Chris Stewart. How are you, my man?
I'm good. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you, particularly after what had to be the most fun any of us have had in a long time, 59-0 over the Aggies.
Halftime interview with the coach was easy. It's 3 words. Coach, nice half.
That's right.
Got out of the way.
35 points in the second quarter, the most of any team in Alabama history. Yeah. And indeed, it did look like on the sidelines the players were enjoying it immensely.
They really did. They were having a good time. And I won't say shocked because they go out expecting to play well. Yeah. But I think the way that snowballed and got out of hand, I think it did surprise even them. But there was blood in the water the last 5 minutes now, that first half. They knew they had a chance to put it away to a degree that hadn't been done in a long time, and they were going after it, that's for sure. They didn't want halftime to get there.
No,
they were ready to keep it going.
Just keep playing, exactly. Well, before the game, you had a chance, and we talked to Christy Curry about it, you had a chance to be at Hoops on the Quad. Yeah. That apparently was a fun deal as well.
I told you on the pregame outside the football stadium that it was one of those deals where you didn't realize how many people truly were there until it was over and they were gone. Because, you're in the Quad and there's always the mass of humanity there on a game day. But then when it wrapped up and they were all, you realize how many people have been around. And I think they had a great time. I know the kids did. That was the first and foremost thing. The players had a wonderful time. And it's kind of a reward for them to an extent because they have been at work. There's all the off-season stuff. Oh, yeah. There's a good bit of preseason work and still obviously a lot more to go until the opening games. But this is a nice thing for them to have some fun and get an opportunity for the crowd to get to know them and shake hands and get to know what great representatives they are of the university. And the event itself was put on extremely well by marketing. We had a lot of fun.
Well, and by the way, tickets are available for both men's and women's basketball games. Go to rolltide.com or call 348-BAMA to get those tickets. It'll be here before you know it. And by the way, before we forget it, I think you ought to recognize the members of your family who are here tonight.
I'd love to. My beautiful wife, Christy, is she still there? Does she sneak up? You know what? This is probably the case. See, I've got the 3-year-old and the 9-year-old here. I got a feeling, nature called with a 3-year-old. So she missed her one shining moment. But,
we'll tell her you said good
Parker's
things about
out there. Hudson's apparently got her busy, and Christy's fantastic. And my daughter, unfortunately, the 14-year-old, 14 this week, by the way.
No way.
Couldn't be with us because she had basketball practice tonight. So
that's great.
Anyway, glad to have them here.
All right, sit back and relax. The coach will be here in just a moment. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Our first call of the evening brought to you by Alabama 811. Be safe. Always call 811 before you dig. It's free. It's the law. Call 811. Utility companies will come out to locate and mark those buried lines. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
Warm place on a cool day. I want to be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
I'm a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs.
Wi-Fi everywhere.
More playgrounds.
Oh, more ice cream trucks.
I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you.
To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Well, it's just sort of.
Hello, Dad.
Susan? Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and maybe see some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is the Nick Saban Show. Presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays. Built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Now, with Coach Nick Saban, here's Tom Roberts.
Well, thank you very much. And the coach getting a standing ovation as he arrives here at Bob's Victory Grill on a Thursday evening, getting set to head off to Knoxville, Tennessee to take on the Volunteers of the University of Tennessee. Coach, I think it may have been the first year that you were here. I reminded you on a Thursday evening, hey, Coach, Nick Saban show like this, that for some of us, and your players kept talking about older guys. I don't know whether I should be happy about that or not, but for some of us, this is a big game.
No, I get it.
Okay.
I don't view myself as an older guy.
Well, they
and
kept
it's a big game to me.
Okay, good. It ought to be
and
a
all
good
those guys that are out there playing, they're not older guys either, and it's a big game to them. So it is a big game. We understand the tradition of this game, and and it goes back. I think that's why to really understand the history, and I try to explain that to our players. The history of this game, where it comes from, why it's important to so many fans. So I don't think they mean older folks. They just mean it's a long time, old tradition that we have a lot of respect for.
Well, and it is a great series for both universities. Joining us tonight, the guy who hosts your TV show and gets the privilege of talking to you at halftime every week and post-game as well, Chris Stewart. Chris, you get the first question for the coach.
Coach, you had Lance Thompson down on this field this week against Texas A&M this past week. Talk about what that move was, the intent of that, and what it brought having him on the sidelines as opposed to being up in the booth.
Well, what really gets difficult for us, and what we've had some issues with before, is we have a hard time substituting not the groups of players that we want to play. Like in the game last week, we had regular people, we had nickel people, we had dime people, we had nickel rabbits, we had dime rabbits, we had all these different personnel groups that we could play in the game. Well, but when you're playing against these no-huddle teams, you also have to be able to substitute the players within the groups. So you rotate the players so you're not always playing the same guy. So we had 2 dime rabbits groups, let's say, in the game. All right, well, it's easy for Kirby to say, all right, dime rabbits are in the game. All right, but what has happened to us before is we have a hard time managing the number of plays that the guys are playing, how many they're playing in a row against fastball and no huddle. So we want to rotate those guys all the time, and you can't just send them in, because if they don't sub, we can't sub. So we have these pairings of guys that we've used all year long that when these two guys go in, these two guys automatically come out. Well, you know, Bo Davis is trying to coach the defensive line. He's trying to watch what's going on. So Kirby's trying to call the defenses, and he's putting the nickel team in, or the dime team, or the dime rabbits, whoever it is. But nobody's subbing in between. You know, nobody's subbing in these groups out so that you're managing the number of plays that they play in the game and how you keep your players fresh. That's what we've had an issue with in the past. So I said, well, we need to bring a coach out of the press box to be able to do that, because that's more important in this game and what somebody's going to see upstairs, because the pace of play is what's always been an issue for us. So, and I think it worked out well in that game.
I would say so, yeah, a shutout of the Aggies. Let's go to the best seat in the house here at Bob's Victory Grill. From Jasper, Alabama, we have Kathy McClendon, Carolyn Smith, and Charles Smith. Charles, you got the first question here.
Okay, Coach. Out of the 3 national championships, which one means the most to you and why?
Well, I don't think about them a lot, first of all. And, you know, I think that everyone's special, because every national championship team that you have the opportunity to be a part of, and that's what I was a part of those teams. All right, I might have been driving the bus, but there was a lot of good people on those buses that made all those things happen. And, you know, they're all important. You know, the 3 here, the 1 somewhere else, and because the team's so important. You know, the players are so important. And I think what it makes you realize is all the things that you try to get, you know, people being as good as they can be. You know, the commitment that it takes, the togetherness it takes, the leadership, how the players respond to adversity and overcome so many things to be able to go undefeated or only lose 1 game or win the SEC championship game, and then, you know, play somebody like Notre Dame or Texas or LSU again after they beat us. You know, that's special. You know, we don't get to be a part of that very often. You don't get to be a part of being the best at what you do in whether it's college football or the best salesman or what you don't get to be a part of that. And when it's a team, which means there's over 100 people that contributed to it, all in a good way, all in their own way, some of it recognized and some of it not recognized, for the guys that practiced every day to make the other players better and all that. So it's really so special to be on a team that accomplishes something like that, because maybe a lot of people don't really understand as fans what it takes to do it and how much appreciation you have for the people who work so hard to make it happen, and you're a part of it. And that togetherness in team, I think when these teams have their 10th year reunion, a lot of these guys will never have seen the guys they played with for 10 years. But the feeling that they have for each other when they come back together will be no different than it was the day after we won the game. All right? And that's something it's hard to get. You know, it's hard to do. It's hard to make happen. And it's really something you really appreciate being a part of. So I can't say one was any better than the other. But because they're all really something special to me.
Well, a guy who certainly appreciates those championships is our Alabama 811 first caller of the night. You know who it is. It's Pee Wee from Grand Bay. Roll Tide, Pee Wee. How are you?
Doing fine, Tom.
What's up, Pee Wee?
Another great day, Coach. Another great day. I hope we had a good practice today.
Had a good practice today.
Offensive
line was okay today.
I want to touch on last week just for a second before I ask about this week. You know, about the atmosphere for the game last week. Probably one of the best that I've ever seen at Bryant-Denny. You know, the fans were feeding off the emotions of the coaches and the players, who were all fired up all game long, and then dancing on the sideline. And then in turn, the players and the coaches were feeding off the fans' emotional reaction to doing that. And then the only thing that was missing was seeing you out there doing the electric slide or the wobble.
Well, I can do it now. I can tell you that. I didn't think it was appropriate at the time, but I can do it.
Well, Coach, the question I have for this week is that Tennessee has two of the top 5 tacklers in the league, in A.J. Johnson and Jalen Reeves-Maben at their linebacker positions. What kind of challenges does it present to the O-line for their preparation this week when you have not just one elite player but 2 elite players playing in the linebacker positions on the field at the same time?
Right. Well, Tennessee's really, really improved defensively. I mean, they really are. Their front is very aggressive. They do have 2 really, really good linebackers. You mentioned both names. They're very active players. They're very fast. They're quick reactors, and they're very, very instinctive. 34 really likes to run through if you do any kind of, down blocking or G blocking or anything like that. It makes a lot of negative plays. Because of their quickness and they're explosive, they're good blitzers. And they've done a really good job with their defensive team in terms of them playing together as a group and executing what they'd like for them to do. So they're very aggressive. They play with a lot more confidence now, I think, than they did, the last few years. So this is a very, very improved group, and it's going to be real challenging because, the way they'll play is when we zone block, they'll try to one-gap everything, and those linebackers will come and stick the gap so you can't stay on the down blocks. All right, and that means that it gets harder for the offensive lineman to block the guy on. When linebackers shuffle stack and don't really play downhill, you can stay on the double teams for a longer time so you can move the down guys and then come off later on the linebackers. Well, these guys will fill and play downhill right now, and it'll make it more difficult on our offensive line to get movement and be able to keep a hat on a hat with guys sliding off and that type of thing. So I think we have a pretty good plan for it, and we've done a good job of executing this week. So, we have something to prove in this game too. We haven't really played on the road very well, so far this year. So we have a lot to prove. Everybody tries to get well on us and say if you can beat Alabama, you made your season and all that. And I think our guys are starting to realize that, we really don't want to allow that to happen. If it's not going to happen, we're going to have to play really well. And we can't get affected by external factors. I don't care if it's noise, whatever it is. It cannot affect you. You have to focus on the things that you need to do so you can execute on this play and go to the next play and do the same thing. And that's something that we need to do better when we play on the road.
Pee Wee mentioned him, A.J. Johnson leading the SEC with over 11 tackles a game, and Jalen Reeves-Maben not far behind at just over 8 tackles a game. We have a young fan here at Bob's Victory Grill who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
I'm Nicholas Jock, and I'm from Mobile.
Nicholas, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
Good.
When it comes to the coin toss, why did you choose to do offense instead of deferring? And is that influenced by whether you're on the road or at home?
Well, the reason we did it in the last game is because Miss Terry got on me because she said we never take the ball. But what she didn't realize is the 2 games before that, when we didn't take the ball, the other team won the toss. So they took the ball, so we didn't have a choice.
Most of the time.
No, but to answer your question, and I think it's a good question, is, I think there's 3 or 4 factors that determine, whether you take the ball or not. All right, first of all, you'd always like to start the game with the best matchup that you can based on your team versus their team. Like if you're playing a team that has a really, really good offense and maybe your defense is not quite up to par, you certainly don't want to give them the ball to start the game. Because if the other coach won the toss, he'd certainly take the ball because he would like that matchup. So that's always the first consideration. The second consideration to me is always the weather, but not really the rain, all right, not really, more the wind. Wind has more effect on a football game than probably anything else. And it had an effect on the game at Ole Miss, this year. And you always want to have the wind in the 4th quarter. The only way you can get the wind in the 4th quarter for sure is if you win the toss, take the ball. Now that means everybody says, well, why would you do this and start the game against the wind? Well, when I was the head coach at Toledo, which was my first year being the head coach, we lost the championship because we couldn't kick a field goal from the 23-yard line because there was a 40-mile-an-hour wind in our face. And nobody remembers, but the Bluegrass Miracle that everybody talks about, where we go 75 yards in 2 plays and the quarterback threw the ball 80 yards in the air, there was a 40-mile-an-hour wind behind them, and we had the wind in the fourth quarter. So their defensive backs all misjudged the ball, and the guy tipped it and caught it, and we won the game after they already dumped the Gatorade on the coach. So my point is, it's more important to have the wind in the fourth quarter than it is to have it in the first quarter. So these are the kinds of things that you consider. Now, something has changed because we take the ball most of the time we win the toss. I mean, last year we took it every time we won the toss, I think. This year, a couple times we played defense first because we had a new, like the West Virginia game, because we have a new quarterback. We just thought that maybe it would help him to get the feel of the game if somebody else was out there playing before he had to go play. But when the rule changed that you get the ball on the 25-yard line, it's a better field position thing even if you get the ball on the 25-yard line, which a lot of people always deferred because they thought the kick coverage would get in better field position. If they stopped them and punted the ball, they would be in better field position. I don't necessarily buy that, all right? But a lot of people like to play defense first. I would really rather play offense first. Now, when you're playing on the road, this is the third factor. And you know that noise is going to be a really big factor in the game. And the fans are going to be juiced up more in the beginning of the game. They'll be still getting hot dogs and beer at halftime when you get the ball in the second half. All right, so when will you have the best opportunity to have the best possession?
It's a good question, Nicholas. Thanks.
Good question.
We got more questions for the coach coming up after we take this time out. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Once in a while, a player comes along and completely changes the game.
Unbelievable catch!
It's no different when it comes to a car. A car that doesn't just change the game, but dominates it. The unrivaled 2015 Toyota Camry. Now lease a new 2015 Toyota Camry SE for $209 a month for 24 months. Toyota, let's go places. Offer valid October 1st through November 3rd, 2014. 26 away to signing Camry SE with selected with 350 disposition fee for qualified lessees. Excludes tax tag, registration title, and other fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Ready for this week's game? We're talking the rumbling roar of Big Al and another epic Roll Tide. But we're also talking great pizza. As a proud sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Red Baron Pizza is kicking off your game day at tailgateatyourplace.com. Score big with awesome party ideas, winning recipes, and impressive school trivia. Plus, a chance to win over $150,000 in prizes. Red Baron, Roll Tide.
Hey, Alabama fans, Academy Sports and Outdoors is the place to go when you need the gear to support your team. Academy is your one-stop shop for Crimson Tide jerseys, t-shirts, caps, novelty items, and more at everyday low prices. Be sure to visit your local Academy store or academy.com to stock up on Crimson Tide gear for the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The right stuff, the low price, every day. Academy.
Looking for the ultimate tire for your performance luxury touring vehicle? Look no further than the new Ventus S1 Noble 2 from Hankook Tire. Packed with the latest design and compounding elements focused on maximizing efficient water evacuation, providing impressive wet handling and braking, increasing cornering grip, and improving winter condition traction. The Ventus S1 Noble 2 is the ideal balance of all-season and ultra-high performance. To see more of the Ventus S1 Noble 2, visit A&A Sales in Huntsville. Be one with it. Hankook Tires.
Play clock at 3, 2, they get it off. Here's the toss, back left side, turning it upfield is Golden. Cuts in and around the defender. He's in for a touchdown. Touchdown, T.J. Yeldon.
One of the many touchdowns scored by the Crimson Tide last Saturday in a 59-0 rout of the Texas A&M Aggies. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, brought to you by Alpha Insurance. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. Chris Stewart, our media guest, and Chris Yeldon 114 yards on 13 carries, 2 touchdowns. Looked like he's 100%.
It was a really good game, and he only had to play 2 quarters to get that. It was pretty special. It was great to see those guys, as was the topic of discussion a good bit of the week, let the horses run. Well, they were, as I said with Coach, they were galloping right out of the gate on Saturday, and it was great to see.
It was absolutely wonderful. The 2 touchdowns, by the way, tie him with Eddie Lacy for 6th place all-time at the University of Alabama with 30 career touchdowns. Coach Saban back on stage with us. Chris, you got a question for him?
I can. It's really back to what we were talking about before, Coach, with Lance and what you got out of your defense. You get hit with questions all the time about your team's, your defense's sack numbers. But you talk about the importance of affecting the quarterback and how that's really bigger than getting sacks. Nonetheless, I'm going to think that getting 6 in a ball game, as you did last week, was nice to see.
Well, I think you always want to affect the quarterback, and I think you affect the quarterback a lot of different ways, and I think, the sacks come from good pressure, pushing the pocket in the middle, not allowing the quarterback to step up, because one of the goals on defense is you defend the middle of the field. Well, when the quarterback can step up, he obviously can throw the ball and attack the middle of the field better. All right, that's why you always want to push the pocket. We do have better pass rushers this year. All right, but one of the things that we did is we disguised what we did in the secondary really, really well, last week in the game. All right, so that makes the quarterback hold the ball a little bit. And their formations, even though they're 4 wideouts and 5 wideouts, they're limited. You can be 2-by-2 or 3-by-1 or empty. That's it. So when we play somebody like Arkansas, I watched 394 plays, and they had over 100 formations. So now you're talking about guys just trying to get lined up and make sure they're doing the right thing, and it's harder to teach them how to disguise all these things because of the multiples of formations that you see. So I think affecting the quarterback is important. One thing we've done a really good job of that nobody knows or talks about is how many batted balls we've had by defensive linemen this year. Defensive linemen and pass rushers. Again, you're pushing the pocket, you're getting closer to the quarterback, you get your hands up, and all these things affect the quarterback. And I think that's the goal that we have. Because there is a stat in the NFL that says sacks have nothing to do with winning. They really don't correlate in any kind of way how many sacks you have to winning the game. But I do think affecting the quarterback, which whether you sack them, pressure them, bat balls down, disguise coverages, all those things affect the quarterback, throughout the course of the game. And it's one thing that does affect the outcome of the game is third down. And if you do all those things well, you'll be a good third down team. And that's something we've been able to do a good job of the last couple of weeks.
Tom, Jeff Purinton, Josh Maxson pointing out that was the most Alabama's had in a game since 2003.
I'll take it any time. We have another fan here at Bob's Victory Grill who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Hey, Coach, Doug Heath from Alexandria, Alabama.
Hey, Doug.
Going into the Tennessee game, where do you think that we need to make the most improvements versus our first 2 road games?
Well, I think the one thing we need to do on the road is, our offense has not played with the same kind of confidence and speed, when we play on the road. And I think some of it starts with communication to some degree. And the lack of communication creates a certain amount of uncertainty. And we don't play as fast. We don't execute as well. And the other team has created more negative plays when we play on the road because the quarterback, because of this anxiety that gets created, doesn't really get us in maybe the right play all the time, or in a critical play, we don't get it changed right. So I just think that the big thing is we need better focus and better confidence in terms of what we're doing. And guys cannot play with anxiety. Who you are is really, really important. And to be bullied by other people means you have fear. You're afraid. Well, when you're afraid of something, whether it's the crowd, the noise, whatever it is, that creates anxiety. And when you have this anxiety, you don't play as well. You don't make as good of decisions. You don't play with the same confidence because you're worried about I might mess up or whatever it is. So we need to not allow those things to affect us. And we got to play with the same confidence, the same enthusiasm, the same energy that we play with at home, and not be affected by those external factors. I mean, you just can't do it. I mean, because it creates problems. And we have not been the same in the 2 road games as we were at home. Now, we weren't as affected by it when we played West Virginia in the opener for whatever reasons. And so that's why we have something to prove in this game. I really do believe that.
Doug, thanks for the question. And come get this $50 gift certificate from University Mall, where you can get special savings from our stores on Crimson weekends. Coach, our first question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com. Ron in Gordo mentioned the fact that you mentioned the movie Secretariat. He wants to know, what are some films that are personally important to you that you saw growing up or that have recently seen that motivate you as a person and a coach?
Well, you know, I like Hoosiers.
Yeah.
You know, and I like, what's the little horse's name? Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
All right, our players watched that before. I really like The Last Samurai. And, you know, when those guys, the honor of being a good warrior was more important than, you know, winning or losing. That was the honor of being a good warrior, and they would do anything for that honor. You have to respect, you know, those kind of things. And I never went to see the movie for a long time because I never had a good feel for Tom Cruise being a samurai warrior, but it was a good movie. I always liked Patton.
That's a great movie.
You know, when I had pneumonia once when I was in high school, and I had to stay in bed for a couple of weeks, and I used to really like history, but I really like war history, and I read, you know, all Patton's books and stuff about World War II, so that was a really good movie, special movie to me.
All right.
I can't think of any others.
Well, let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to North Carolina, where Al's on the line. Roll Tide, Al. How are you tonight?
Thank you, Tom. Coach, in the TV broadcast this past week, they showed a graphic that said that you have 7 players who will earn their master's degree in December. I think that's just a great accomplishment. Talk, if you will, how you keep a team focused on doing what they're supposed to do every day as far as on the field, in the classroom, and to keep them motivated and to keep them focused on those ultimate goals. But I guess I have to think at the end it's got to be the character of the individual player that allows them to achieve those goals. So talk, if you will, how you all work through the week of keeping your players on schedule and on point. And thanks again for everything you do for the university. Thank you, Coach.
Well, you know, I think it starts with the kind of people that you recruit to start with. And, you know, what we sell in recruiting to a lot of our players is, and what we try to do in the program here is we try to create value for our players so that they're going to have a better chance to be more successful in life because they were involved in the program. Now, that involves personal development. It involves developing a career off the field, which means getting an education and graduating from school. It involves being the best player that you can be so that you can see if you can play at the next level someday. And it also involves career development, which we have a career development center and a First and 10 club who supports the career development center, which is an alumni group who actually gives direction and support to players being able to get the best opportunities when they leave. So all these things create value. Well, this is how we recruit players. Same thing I just said, and it's a little more in detail than all that. So you only get those kinds of guys that want to do those kinds of things that come to be a part of your team. A guy that doesn't want to get an education doesn't really come here, he goes someplace else. A guy that doesn't want to be a good person doesn't really come here, he goes someplace else, because it's really not going to be tolerated. Somebody that really doesn't want to be a good player but is just looking for a place where he can get by, I don't think he's going to come here. And you know, we have a critical mass of players on our team who do the right things. Once they get here, we create structure in all those areas. And we have guidelines that the players have to sort of live in, just like when you say, how do you get them to do what they're supposed to do academically? Well, we check everything a player is supposed to do academically. A player cannot not get caught not doing what he's supposed to do academically. If he misses class, he gets a point. If he misses a tutoring appointment, he gets a point. He gets so many points, he's got consequences. So many more points, I won't let him play. All right, so or practice. Now, if they do everything right, they get positive points too. So there's structure. There's structure all the time. And we have a lot of people who try to influence our players in a positive way in terms of personal development. I mean, we spend a tremendous amount of money on mental conditioning for success, speakers that come in, whether it's drugs, alcohol, agents, gambling, how to treat the opposite sex, which is all the domestic violence stuff that you hear about, macho man stuff, getting in, all these things that poor choices and decisions derail people from getting where they want to go. And, you know, basically what I tell players is what you're doing helping you get what you want or not? And if what you have now is really not what you want, then you need to change what you're doing.
Good
I mean, that's good for all of us.
Yep.
But, I mean,
you're exactly
is the
right.
decision you're about to make, is that going to help you get what you want, or is it not going to help you get what you want? And what I do a lot of times, and I did it today with a couple of players, is, you know, I used to rant and rave at guys and yell at them and all that. You know what I do now? I don't even say anything to them. I put 5 plays on the film from practice to make the point I want to make. And I bring them in, sit down, and I say, all right, you're loafing on this play. You didn't run to the ball in that play. You didn't carry out your fake right on that play. So how is this helping you get what you want? They just sit there and say, you're right. Get up, walk out, and do it better the next time.
Which is what you want.
Showing them is better than telling them.
All right, we're at the half hour. We need to take a break right now. Pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Do game day right with the latest innovations from LG. From the kitchen to the living room, LG has you covered. Check them out at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG. It's all possible with LG. And a quick reminder, our friends at Total Sports Travel still have packages available for the LSU game. Trip features 2-night hotel stay plus motor coach and pregame party prior to the game. Book online at totalsportstravel.com or call 888-367-8781. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
As your athlete insurance agent, I can help you customize a plan that'll save you money while still protecting your family.
Saving $10, $15, $20 a month makes a big difference for families.
We're able to give you a better product for a better price with better service.
I try to give the customers the kind of service that I want myself.
And that has value. You can't get that online.
We have a great product, a great claim service, and it's a real value buy.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
Think it's only a game? You win some, lose some, just give the old college try. Not around here. Because in Tuscaloosa, winning on the field and the work site isn't everything. It's the only thing. Alabama and the 2014 Ford F-150. This team, this truck will make a believer out of you. For great offers on a new F-150, go to shopfordnow.com or see your local Ford dealer today.
The tide will be rolling soon, but if you haven't gotten your Bama Banking Visa check card, you're not really ready for kickoff. Bama Banking, exclusively from BBVA Compass, is the perfect way to show your pride in the tide. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama. Bama builds champions. At BBVA Compass, you can be a champion too by sporting one of our limited edition Bama Banking check cards. Sign up for Bama Banking and show your pride every time you use your check card. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama.
Nothing means it's game day like ice cold Coke Zero, because zero means it's game day.
What about when?
No.
But you don't even know what I was going to say.
Were you going to say zero means it's game day, so therefore nothing means it's game day like Coke Zero?
No, but...
Then it doesn't matter, does it? The refreshing taste of Coke Zero. Zero means it's game day.
Hey, this is Coach Nick Saban. Like you, Coke Zero is a proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. So when you're enjoying the game this season, feel free to crack open a Coke Zero and enjoy that too. Roll Tide.
Here's Sims on a keeper. Gets around 3 men. Cuts inside of another. He may go. He's to the 10. He's to the 5. My goodness! Late Sims, 43 yards with magnificent moves around unsuspecting defenders. Touchdown, Alabama. A beauty.
You want to talk about magnificent moves? You should have been here during the commercial break. Nick and Terry Saban with great moves on, didn't know we had a dance floor here at Bob's Victory Grill, but we do. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Chris Stewart, our media guest for the week, and that was a great run by Blake Sims. To me, he may be one of the best stories of his college football season anywhere.
I agree, Tom. It's been so much fun to watch, and Coach has talked about him a great deal. You know, a guy that sticks around and does the right things, does it the right way, does everything that's asked of him, gets rewarded with an opportunity, then makes the most of it. It's very special.
117 of 176 for 1,748 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for Blake Sims. Coach, are you winded from that dancing you were doing out there?
No, I'm good.
You look good. By the way, the folks that are watching us on TV got to see the coach and Miss Terry. Chris, you get to start this second half hour.
Real quick, either or, playing off of that, Michael Jackson or the Jackson 5?
Well, I mean, Michael Jackson, I liked the Jackson 5 when he was a little guy, but you know, I like Michael Jackson. You know, great performer. But I like a lot of people. You know, that's one of the things, and shouldn't be talking about this now, but when you're old like me, and all of us old folks out there that are like me, the one thing that we have on all the rest of these young'uns running around is we had the best culture of music in our life, from Elvis Presley, to all the way through Motown and all the great performers, whether they were country and western, you know, the Eagles, the light rock, the Elton John, the Rolling Stones, everybody. I mean, just Al Green, just Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And the young'uns now, I tell the players that all the time. You guys missed it.
Well, you're not going to miss getting a birthday cake. I know the next one rolls over next week. And Johnny Sue has brought the annual birthday cake. Can you blow them out there, Coach?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Hey, all right. There we go. Now, what's your wish to beat Tennessee?
I can't tell.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell, but I'm sure you could guess.
All right. Thank you, Johnny Sue. Now, we got another fan here at Bob's Victory Grill. Karen from Tuscaloosa. What's your question for the coach?
At the press conference after the game last week, you said that you had a meeting with the offensive line and kind of cleared the air, sat down, talked about what was working, what wasn't working, and it helped the team, and it kind of made them do a lot better, and actually the whole team played lights out, you know, Katie barred the door of football. But what I want to know is, did you have meetings, small group meetings with the other members, other groups of the team, or did that just spill over from what you had with the offensive line?
No, I have meetings, you know, with players, probably 2 or 3 players, you know, a day, and sometimes with groups. And, you know, really what I told the offensive line last week was, I said, you know, look, you guys are getting criticized a lot, and you're letting other people define who you are, which a lot of us do sometimes, instead of being who you are. And you are the same offensive line, minus one guy, who we scored 40-some points against Florida and played very well early in the season. You controlled the line of scrimmage. You played with confidence. You played together. You played with toughness. And I believe in you guys that you can do that. But I also think that because you've been criticized, you're pressing, you're afraid to make mistakes, you got a lot of fear, and everybody wants to be perfect, and you really can't be. And in doing that, you're not playing with the same aggressive attitude. And I expect you guys to be the sergeant of arms of our offense. In other words, we have good skill players. They're not going to make any plays unless you guys can dominate and do what you're supposed to do. Do it aggressively and have fun. And I believe in you and trust in you, and I think you got to get this mindset back and not worry about all this other stuff and not be affected by it. And I think they responded well to it and played better. But I do have faith in them, and I do trust in them, and they're hard-working, good guys. And, you know, nobody likes to get criticized. And, you know, people get defined by what other people think far too much. And it makes you think that it makes it more difficult for you to really be who you are. And in this day and age, I've talked about this a lot before, it creates a lot of anxiety because all of a sudden you're trying to meet expectations. You know, we had an interesting video about Alex Smith, and Alex Smith was the first guy picked in the draft one of the years that I was at the Miami Dolphins. I think it was 2006 from Utah. And he talks about how he spent the first 2 or 3 years of his career, which were disastrous, trying to live up to the expectation that he had created in his mind that he had to be because he was the first guy picked in the draft. And wasn't himself at all, didn't play with confidence. This created a lot of anxiety for him and a lot of tension, and he wasn't himself at all. And when he finally got traded to Kansas City from San Francisco, they won 14 games. And he never felt he had to do that. And he started being himself again and didn't worry about what everybody else thought, what everybody else said, and what he felt like the expectation that he had to lead up to. You know, when I talk about anxiety on our team, these are the types of things that I talk about trying to manage with our players because they get affected by the expectation that everybody has that they're supposed to blow everybody out. That's why I got mad after the Arkansas game. All right, so, but I want our players to have fun playing. I want our players to get excited about making a good play. I don't want them to play worrying about just what's going to happen if I make a bad play. And I think sometimes the tension and the anxiety makes you feel that way and you don't play very well. And I really thought we played that way at Ole Miss. I tried to get us out of it. We started out at Arkansas that way, and in the fourth quarter of that game, we finally came around, and that's how we played last week, too.
Karen, thanks for the question, and I've got a Bama tailgate banner for you from Banner Stadium. Check them out online at bannerstadium.com. Let's go back to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline, and we've got Red in Cottondale. Red, roll tide.
Roll tide, Tom. Hope you and Coach are doing well.
Doing great tonight.
Doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, Coach, got two quick things here. First of all, I want to say a great win Saturday, and I was very, very impressed to see no turnovers and no penalties in one game. To me, that was awesome to turn it around in one game to see
points.
that.
You know, I told the players the Secretariat story, and, you know, before the game about just run. I said it last week, so I'm not going to tell it again. And then I told them on Monday, I said, well, I didn't expect you guys to win the Triple Crown. You know, no penalties, no points, no turnovers.
A great way to win a ball game. Thanks for the call, Red. Coach, another question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com, and it's Philip from LaGrange, Georgia, wants to know what players put you in a great mood when you're a little stressed out? In other words, the guys that just kind of can bring a smile to your face and make you keep going.
What players on our team?
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. There's a lot of really good players on our team that are really good people and good guys. And this team, regardless of whether we win another game, this is a really fun team to coach because we don't have a lot of energy vampires on this team. You know, and I've talked about that before. You know, you spend all your time and energy because you got 4 or 5 guys that won't ever do things the right way. You're always spending all your time trying to get them to do it right. And the other 95 guys that are doing it right, you don't have any time to spend with them over the 4 or 5. Well, we don't really have players like that on our team this year. Even our freshmen, who usually are a lot like that, we don't have guys that, you know, are hard to manage or don't want to do what they're supposed to do. So this is a really fun team to coach from that standpoint. And just being around this team, I get less stressed out. I don't like it when we don't play well. And it's been a work in progress, which I thought it would be this year, and tried to, you know, get everybody to understand that it would be. But I really enjoy being around this group of young men that we have on this team, the entire group, not any just one particular player.
Well, going back to the question Karen had about the offensive line, a guy I would think brought a smile to your face, Ari Kwanjo, winning SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Maybe the best game of his career?
Well, Ari is, you know, You really love to see guys like that win honors like this and get recognized because you really know all they did, to come back, to do the rehabs on 2 surgeries, tough surgeries, and not surgeries that you have and don't have, consequence that you may not be able to play again and you have to overcome and work really hard to be able to do it. So to see him be recognized is really special.
All right, we got a few more questions for the coach, but right now our final break. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For those caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and if you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away, you're wrong. I can quit whenever I want, but I like my job. Just treat me better. Maybe we can do some exercise on occasion? After all, we're in this together.
Don't let your heart quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
This year, firefighters will battle thousands of wildfires around the country in hopes of containing them. But a single ember that escapes can travel more than 1 mile where it can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Prepare, protect, prevail. Get fire adapted. Learn simple steps you could take now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
Here's a 3rd and 7 from the Aggie 41. The Aggies bring a host into the box, setting up a screen. Here's Derrick Henry. He's to the 35. He's open to the 30. He angles left to the 20. Turns it upfield. He's going to go. A screen pass that goes for a 41-yard touchdown behind the blocking of Ari Kwanjo. Do you believe this?
Yes, we believed it. It was a fun game to watch. Alabama 59-0 over Texas A&M last Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Chris Stewart, when I was on the sidelines, one of the things I always had to kind of watch out for is the celebrations after scores. There were lots of them Saturday.
I will not tell you which of the team doctors it was, but he told me, he walked by after, I think it was after Blake's touchdown. He said, I'm in mortal pain. He goes, I'm going to have to operate on myself. I forgot who it was, but one of the big defensive linemen jumped up and landed right on his foot. He said, Lyle's going to have to take care of me. I can tell. I'm going to have to cut the boot. I had a cowboy boot on. I'm going to have to cut it off. That may have given it away, but no, that's you're right. Don't get stepped on. That's the biggest key on the sideline for us.
You're exactly right. And Chris Stewart, our media guest for the evening, and Coach, he has the honor of asking the final question of the night.
Coach, I just want to get you to tell the fans, when 2:30 kickoff, they're there on the Walk of Champions, seeing the bus pull up at 12:30, and they probably think, well, you get together just a little bit before that, drive over, the game ends, you talk to the media for a few minutes, you go home. I know there's a lot more involved in your game day, specifically on a home game weekend. So tell them a little bit what a Saturday, a usual day might be like.
Well, I'll just go through what, like this last game. We have a 9 o'clock in the morning staff meeting, which usually happens, let's see, we played at 2:30, so we had 10:30 pregame meal. We had 10 o'clock church. We had 9 o'clock staff meeting. And I have a whole list of game checks that we go through, like we got to ask about the coin toss. We go through who the officials are, what they like to call, what they don't call. injuries on our team, any issues we have going into the game, or anybody we have to evaluate, anything in recruiting, because we always have a lot of guys visiting for the games and so forth. Which ones do I have to talk to? Who do I have to talk to? So that takes about an hour. At 10, I go to church, go to both church services. We have Catholic and non-denominational. I go to both. And then we have pregame meal. As soon as I'm done with pregame meal, Jesse and Cedric take me to the office, and I will meet with recruits. Maybe 8-10 guys. And at 12 o'clock, which is usually 25 minutes before we depart for the stadium, we have 20-minute chair drill. So I get back there for chair drill. I stand and watch the chair drill, see all the guys make their calls and all that kind of stuff. We get on the bus. We go to the walk. As soon as I get to the stadium, I walk the field. That's kind of a tradition of mine. I usually end up doing an interview with ESPN or whoever's doing the game. Then I go in the locker room again, and I sit and talk to recruits the whole time until the officials come 1 hour before the game. And then I kind of stop recruiting, talk to the officials, go over the checklist I have with them, and then I finally get dressed for the game, decide what I'm going to say to the team before we go out, for the game, go out for pregame warm-up, and, then meet with the coaches when we come off the field. 12 minutes before we go out, the coaches talk to the players, and I talk to the players. We pray at 7, and I talk to them at 6, and we go on the field.
There we go.
So that's just before the game.
Yeah, I know. After the game,
after the
it's even
game
more.
is kind of the same. But anyway, and nobody wants to care about that.
Full deal.
Nobody cares about that.
Well, I got to ask one quick question before the final word. Reuben Foster, one of your special teams players of the week, he had 2 of the biggest hits we've seen all year. To me, Reuben is kind of an example of what's becoming a better situation on special teams, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really done a great job for us on special teams. He actually got hurt a little bit on one of those plays and been limited in practice this week. But he has done a fantastic job on special teams for us. Reuben's going to be a really good player. One of the things that we've had to work with Reuben on, and this is kind of a chronic thing with him, is he gets stingers because he likes to put his head down when he tackles. So you see most of the tackles that he's just made, in this film clip, he's keeping his face up.
Yeah.
All right, and he's tackling more chest to chest. So that's what we're trying to teach him to do, and that's why he wears the neck collar. And that's something that I think will help him long-term stay healthy.
All right, Chris Stewart, thanks for being with us tonight.
Glad to do it. Thank you.
Coach, final word presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, this is a really important game for us. It's a big game because it's Tennessee, and it means a lot to a lot of people, and there's a lot of tradition involved in this game. But I think it also means a lot to our team in terms of who we are, all right, and the kind of character that we have and the kind of character that we're going to need competitively to be able to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish, and that's our ability to prove that we can go on the road and be a good football team and play good football. All right, and I think that's a real challenge for us. And I think the more our fans can support us on the road, all right, the better it's going to help us. The more we can have a comfort zone and a confidence that we've played with at home when we go on the road, which really shouldn't matter. I actually told the players today, it doesn't matter if you play in a parking lot. What makes the difference where you play? You focus on the same things you need to do to execute. And it all happens before it happens. Because your energy and enthusiasm before you ever get into it is what helps you prepare and have the confidence that you need. So we need to practice well all week so that we can go and do the things that we want to prove in this game. But I really do think that our fans are really important to us when we play on the road, and we certainly appreciate your support, and I think that's very helpful to our team. And we do expect this to be a tough game. We're going to get the best from them. It's a rivalry game for them too, but we're going to have to play our best, and I think that's what we're really focused on, and we've had a good week, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Coach, thanks for being here. We'll see you in Knoxville.
All right, thank you.
Roll Tide, everybody. We're going to come back, wrap things up in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm 1 out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, parents of children with asthma, here's another hit from the Breathe Easies.
Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold. Whoa. Mold can trigger asthma in kids young and old. Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold in your house. Whoa.
This song may be fun, but childhood asthma is not. Preventing asthma attacks can be as simple as cleaning up the mold and mildew in your house. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org, brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum. That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Be the hero of your tailgate this season. Go to eatatjacks.com to place your order for the ultimate fan fuel. Get your team ready for the big game with Jack's delicious hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried chicken, sides, biscuits, and more. Jack's now a proud partner of the Crimson Tide. Now let's talk about Sport Clips. You're a guy, and when you need a haircut, you need it right now. So come on in, because at Sport Clips, you never need an appointment. Visit any of our Alabama stores and ask for the MVP service. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy.
The Learfield Sports Directors Cup honors the nation's best overall collegiate athletic program in each division, men's and women's sports. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics, noting the remarkable efforts of student athletes and their institutions. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook. Find us in USA Today, online, and on Twitter at LS Directors Cup. Over 2 decades of excellence. The Learfield Sports Directors Cup.
From Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, that does it for this edition of Hey Coach and the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're going to resume our coverage Saturday afternoon from Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. 3:30 is the airtime, first of all, for Tyler Watts and Todd Robbins around the SEC from Cobalt down at Orange Beach. Then at 3:30, we'll join you from the stadium, Eli Gold, Chris Stewart, Phil Savage, and myself, for our pregame show. And we'll bring you all the details of what we hope will be a great victory over the Tennessee Volunteers. Our thanks tonight to Neil and all the staff here at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, to Jerry and Jan back in the studio. Most of all, we thank Tom Stipe, our producer-engineer, who's with us every week here at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. And that does it for this Thursday evening. I hope you'll be listening Saturday when we join you at 3:30 from the University of Tennessee's Knoxville, or Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Until then, roll Tide, everybody.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this has been Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. And by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. The preceding has been a presentation of the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.